I'm Evelyn Culp, interviewing her.
Welcome to Evie's History Bites, hosted by Martha Owen, the Heritage Collection Manager of the ELC Heritage Collection. Welcome to another episode of Evie's History Bites. I'm Martha, your host, and we have another great episode for you this month. Jeannie Folk from 1874 Found Goods and Gifts sat down with me and we talked about antiques, found goods, and Nappanee history. Let's dive straight in. So thank you so much, Jeannie, for joining me. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm so glad to be here, Martha. Thanks for inviting me.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up between here and Wakarusa. Lived on County Road 1 my whole life and graduated from Northwood. For a few years after college, when Joe and I got married, we lived for a little time in Ohio and a little time in Michigan, and then we came back here in 1986 when our oldest daughter was like 3 months old.
Oh, wow.
So we have 3 married daughters, and between the 3 of them we have 9 grandkids. 7 of them live in Wakarusa and the other 2 live in Fort Wayne.
Oh, so they're close.
They're close. We're very spoiled.
Yeah.
We are very spoiled.
So what is 1874 Found Gifts and Goods?
Okay, that's a great question. I think at the beginning some people might have been confused about what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
I liked 1874 because when we were starting to think about what will this store look like, it was being remodeled, and it was our Nappanee's 150th anniversary year.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that is just a cool name. And then, of course, you can't just have a number up on the building. So anyway, some of my adult kids said, "Mom, you can't use the words antique on the front of the building because we wouldn't even go in a store like that." And I said, "Okay." Then so we got to thinking and just brainstorming, and so that's how we came up with Found Goods and Gifts, because it's not just antiques and vintage. There's other things in there too.
Yeah, so I will say, here at the Heritage Collection, we love the name.
Do you?
Like, we tell people all the time, we're like, just go down to 1874, and they're like, what is that? And we're like, it's after Nappanee and its founding, but just go right on ahead and go in. You'll love it.
I love that. Thank you. That's awesome.
And, so trends are really interesting right now. With how people are decorating. So, like, what is your most requested items?
Usually the most requested items are the ones we don't currently have. People like some smaller furniture sometimes, and so we have a hard time keeping like little side tables, and they like, they would like a pair. We don't always have that,
Mm-hmm.
It's just what the vendors will bring in. People generally want things that they can use at their house. Some people will just use them as decor, but people, they want to use the piece of furniture by their bed, or they want the desk for their child's bedroom or whatever. So it just depends on the person. I have a couple of vendors that ask me, what's selling, and I say, if I knew the answer to that question, I'd have a second home in the Bahamas, because that's all I'd sell then. So, anyway, trends do change, but I think they rely on geography sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And what else was one of the things? It just depends on the internet, sometimes what's popular on social media. And then it's also the season. So like right now we're decorated for spring. So this week when I worked, I sold a lot of like flower pots and flower frogs and bunnies and, that kind of thing, because people are getting ready to decorate for spring.
So has like the world of TikTok just changed like the vintage like market?
Yeah, I think the whole internet has changed that, but most recently, probably in the last 5-10 years, maybe, because everyone wants to buy and sell.
Yeah.
So it's not just for like a brick and mortar store anymore. I mean, people sell online, and it's not just your local community; it's a worldwide market. So that's really changed. So it's changed for the way it impacts 1874 is that the vendors then have a little harder time finding things that they can make money on.
Okay. Yeah. And how much of like Nappanee stuff do you find coming in?
You mean like things that are marked or
Yeah,
that we
like,
know?
yeah, that are marked or that we know that have been made in Nappanee.
I think since I've opened 1874, there's been maybe just a few things that have come in. Mostly pictures, photographs, framed photographs, or the Nappanee plate, or like a button hook or some small little thing.
Okay.
And Lamb Brothers
yeah.
lamps.
Yeah.
we've had a couple of those.
We were so we're working on this really cool new experience for here at the Heritage Collection, and we take a walking tour. So we were actually walking it last week, and we walked by your storefront and we saw the Lamb Brothers in green, and like I recognized it from like before we even got up there, and my assistant was like, how did you even know that was one? I was like, I'm pretty sure I helped with one of those.
They're a big deal, aren't they?
Yeah.
The other thing I forgot to say too is like right now we have a Coppice cabinet, a kitchen cabinet in the store, and this is the second, I'm gonna say second, maybe second one that we've had in a year. So the first one was from my house, and we downsized and it didn't really work, and so we sold that. Was a little hard for me, but we sold it and then found a different one. So that's always cool to have and it's got the badge and everything. So
nice.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's always nice to find, like, when you're finding like Coppice cabinets, you're always like excited to find like the complete deals. I know my sister who lives in Oregon has 4.
Oh my goodness.
And the first one that she purchased, it didn't have the flour bin in it. It didn't have the sugar bowl or things like that. And so she used people on the internet and found all of her missing pieces.
That's great. That's awesome. That couldn't have happened a while ago, right?
Yeah, no, it couldn't have. But yeah, so she found, I think, like her sugar bowl, and I think both of them came from like New York State or something like that.
No kidding.
Yeah, so it's crazy how much people want the complete deals now to how years ago they were taking out all of those pieces.
Right. Right. They were parting them out. It wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. That even happened when I was a kid. While I was in high school, we grew up in a 100-year-old house, and my dad decided he wanted to remodel it, and we didn't know any different. I was a kid too. I didn't know. He tore out all the molding, all the doors, all the the door handles, all that stuff went on the burn pile.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I could just see your mom now, like telling him no.
Right? No, it made me sad.
So we kind of talked about internet trends, but also before internet trends became like a big thing with like people selling more online and things like that, there were shows like Flea Market Flip and American Pickers. So how has that also changed the industry?
I think what makes those shows fun, and I'm maybe more so American Pickers, is they kind of give you a little education as you go. And so you go, oh, I didn't know that history about that certain piece. That's pretty cool, because we don't have a place nearby here where they sell antique motorcycle parts or whatever, like they would show. So I think it's just made people more aware of the stuff that could be around them that they think maybe is junk, but it might not be junk after all. Mm-hmm. Like I teased a customer the other day. They were talking about, I saw this in here and I have this and I have this, but I didn't. I threw away this thing, and I said, "Oh, you should never throw anything away. don't throw anything away."
Yeah. No. When people give us stuff, they're like, "Oh, if you don't want it, like just throw it away." And it's like, no. I will find it a home. Like
I love that.
I will find it a home. It will not go into the trash can. Like
that's the way I feel too.
Yeah. It will be found a home and that's what we do, because we don't take yearbooks anymore, because we have hundreds and hundreds of yearbooks, and so we have other museums that we partner with, and they're looking for Nappanee yearbooks as well. So
that's awesome.
we like are like, hey, like how are you doing on like your years?
Uh-huh.
Like we just got these in, will you take them? So
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I love that.
Yeah. So along your lines of like not throwing like that they should have kept it, I tell people I'll find it a home.
Yeah, don't get rid of it.
Don't get rid of it. It will find a home.
That's right. It needs a home.
Yeah.
I think I've always been a sentimental person. Even as a kid, I spent a lot of times with my grandparents, and I think because I was at their house a lot, I saw all that old stuff, and that's maybe why I got started on really liking that stuff. Plus, I like the stories behind them, how it was used, or who, this came from Europe from my great-great-grandpa. Any kind of story like that is just cool to me.
Yeah, I think so too. I love the stories. I always tell people, there's a story attached to every single item that we take. Like, there's no story that's small or big. Like, we have our huge kitchen cabinet collection and some very rare advertising pieces in that collection. But, their stories are not more important than a tiny little plate that was sold in a general store.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
It all meshes together.
Yes, very much so. So your building went under a massive renovation. I will say when I was providing pictures to the redevelopment and things like that when they were working with the contractors and the owner of the building, like it was pretty crazy because at that same time we were having pictures coming in of the buildings, like when they were being we had one come in of when it was being built, when 1874's building, Thingamabobbles, Sweet G's, and then the building beside Sweet G's. So all three of those together.
Wow.
So it was pretty cool. So what are some things that were done to the building that you just love about it?
I think one of the things I really, really love is the exterior. Mm-hmm. And that, and I'm very, very grateful to Pete Yoder and Eric Yoder, because without them I couldn't have such a cool store at all, really. And it was in pretty bad shape, as you probably knew.
Yeah.
But Eric said early on, I'm working on the exterior. He reconfigured it, because if you remember the way it was before, everybody had to come in one door on the one side, and then you had to exit the other side. So he kind of pushed the doors to the opposite ends of the front, and then he said, I'm really tired of black and white. That's a big trend right now. What can we do? And I said, well, I love green. So what do you think about that? And then he kind of ran with it. He said, send me some pictures, and I sent him some photos of some color that I liked, and he went from there. I think it looks fantastic.
Oh yeah, it does look fantastic, and it elevated that side of the street so much. Everything that the Yoder family has done in the downtown is just gorgeous.
I agree.
From Key Boutique to Bella's Books, your building, Sweet G's, like,
right.
It's just like gorgeous how much they're putting into the downtown.
I know. I'm very, very grateful. like even Sweet G's. I mean, what a mess that building was.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a lot. Anybody that ever either owned the building that I'm in, that we're in, or rented it, just when they moved out, they left whatever. So basically, the upstairs and the second floor and the basement had to be, I call it excavated, because I mean it was just stuffed full of things that weren't useful at all. I know they fixed the foundation in the front and the back. They closed that. You remember there was a exit from the basement up to the alley?
Oh, yeah.
They closed that off, so that wasn't there anymore. And it needed a new roof. It needed a lot of new stuff. But I love that when we walked in there, so it would have been 2023, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, when I first saw the building with Pete, and it was awful, it was just awful, but I've seen his work, and we trusted him, and they're just great to work for. They mean what they say, and he had some great ideas. And later on, we got together, Eric and him and we walked through, and they'd say, "What are you thinking?" And I'd say, "Well, it doesn't really matter what I think because it's your money." But they had great ideas. Pete said, "I want the old schoolhouse lights, and I want some old looking fans like an old store would have, and some of that kind of stuff." So, yeah, it was a fun process to dream about it and then watch it come alive.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool how they made it back into 2 stores.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know that the history. When was it just 2 stores? Do you know?
I would have to go back and look, but I know pretty much when it opened, it was 2 stores. Because on Thingamabobble's side was Coppa's Pharmacy.
Okay.
So I don't know, because that would have been 1909. So I don't know if when Coppa's pulled out and it just went to the proprietor of that building, if he then extended over to the other side.
So that building was built before 1910 then?
Yeah. I think
Scott's side or 1874 side?
All 3 sides would have been 1909.
Okay.
Yeah, Sweet G's, Scott's building, and then your building would all have been 1909.
Okay, that's good to know.
And I'll send you, we have a really cool picture too. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but the brick is in the street for your building.
Oh, no, I haven't.
So
I'll just see that. Yeah.
I'll have to send you that. And before that, it was just wooden buildings.
Really?
Yeah. So I think on your side would have been Stoops Bakery.
Okay.
I think so. It would have been a restaurant on your side. I can't remember what Scott's side was. And then the Undertaker was Sweet G's.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So, what was the next store then after Stoops? Do you know? Was it Wagmiller's, or was there something in between there?
I'll have to look, but I think there was something in between when it was Stoops Bakery to when it was the pharmacy to when it was Wagmiller's. I think there might have been 1 or 2 more in there. Because Pletcher's Furniture would also been in Sweet G's spot.
Oh, really?
As well, when they moved from Nappanee or from Walker's in the 30s.
Okay. So you've got all these timelines somewhere.
Yeah, we have all these timelines somewhere, and we're always working on timelines.
I would love to see that, because I do have some people come in there and they know it's a historic building by the tin ceiling and just the way it looks, and it's always nice to have a conversation about some of those things.
Oh yeah, I will make sure to get you our timelines, and Yeah.
Most of the time I hear people come in and say, I remember when this was Wagmiller's, because, everyone else is gone now that would remember it before that. But they remember where the candy was and where the toys were. And, it's kind of fun to hear them talk about it.
Yeah, and it is pretty cool that they found the Wagmiller sign underneath the front signs, and that they were able to return it to the family.
Yeah, I think that is pretty cool too. The other thing I really like about the building is when they tore off those 3 signs, that lead glass was on the front of the building.
Oh, yeah.
That they used back in the day for, more light, right? Mm-hmm. And he kept that and built it into the brick on the inside of our store, which
nice.
Is really cool looking.
Yeah, the whole like leaded glass thing was like it was a huge like design element to almost every single building in the downtown when they started using that. We've been talking with Venny's because we discovered a photograph of a barber shop being in their basement.
No kidding.
Yeah. So we're just down in that basement last week, and you can see the stairs that would have come down from the outside, and we think we figured out where like the picture was taken from.
Oh my word.
But in trying to find the entrance to the barber shop, we were looking at it, and you can tell Venny's has some brick changes. Mm-hmm. So you can tell like when they put in that leaded glass front in Venny's building. So yeah, that it's all pretty cool of like watching the downtown slowly change from like wooden buildings to the brick buildings to then the brick buildings all changing and things like that, going from a very, I don't know, like upscale, like on the Hartman Brothers building, there's turrets on top. Oh my goodness. Across the street at the Dietrich block from your building, they had like these gorgeous like panels with the Dietrich name on them. So like, very cool. People coming in and changing all of that.
I don't like that. I want to keep it historic.
Yeah, and Nappanee does a really good job of keeping it historic, and like all of Pete's projects I know have to go through historic preservation, and I know once the Dietrich building, once they start on that project, that will all have to go through historic preservation as well. So
yeah, I'm excited when the older buildings get some care like that. You're kind of like a detective, Martha. You're talking about going and finding the barbershop, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, we feel here at the Heritage Collection, we feel like we're detectives. We're also still trying to figure out. One of my assistants was looking through the newspapers and found when we had Coppice Hotel, they found like Coppice Hotel and coffee shop. So now we're trying to figure out like how it was a coffee shop. Like,
interesting. So there's so much we don't know.
Yeah, there's so much. Like, I just wish that we had time machines.
I know. Well, recently I saw this time lapse photography video of Chicago from the air, and I'm sure it was somewhat AI generated, but it was so interesting to see how the whole area changed throughout whatever years that those were. I would love to have one of those for Nappanee.
Yeah,
that'd be so cool.
We are actually so we have virtual walking tours that people can download an app and then they can take tours of downtown. So we are actually moving to a new company for those, and one of the features that I'm incredibly excited about is it has a slider. So you can have a vintage photo up, and then you can have it slide. Then people can like slide it to what it looks like now. So
love
they can do like a side-by-side comparison.
Oh, that's so cool.
So like that was like if we weren't like being forced to move companies because our company that we have been using was bought out, like that would have just sold me on purchasing it
Right.
to begin with, was the slider, because I just love, comparing the older buildings to the newer like to how they look today, because some of them haven't changed much,
Right.
but other ones have changed immensely.
Yeah.
So
You're right. I think one other thing, talking about history and how things were, Pete saved some of the old doors that had the transoms from upstairs when they
nice.
took all the stuff
Yeah.
out, and kept them. And one is the restroom door, and one is the well, they call it the mop room, but I squeezed a little office in there. And the one that's on the office says locker room.
Oh.
I don't know if you've been in there. So it's like got the kind of frosted glass with the stencil locker room on it. And I'm like, now what was the locker room door doing upstairs? Do you think it got, when the gymnasium got torn down, they salvaged some of that stuff?
They could have salvaged some of that, because, I mean, the community building would have been torn down in the 60s.
Okay.
So yeah, they could have salvaged some of that. I wonder if some of it wasn't salvaged as well from another one of the buildings, because Renee's building, in the upstairs, they used to play high school basketball games up there.
Yes, I remember hearing that.
I wonder if that wasn't also salvaged from that building.
Okay. What years would have that been?
The 20s.
And that's amazing.
Say. The 1910s, the 1920s, because the community gym opened in 34.
Okay.
So yeah, it would have been in that time period before that. But yeah, that's quite interesting, because what's really cool in the Dietrich building is the doors and the transoms are still up there, and some of the transoms still work. I might have played with a couple.
That's awesome.
And some of the curtains are there too,
Yes.
like on the transom. So that is really cool.
Well, I've been told that the phone company, when it came to Nappanee, was upstairs in our building.
Yeah. So
Do you know that?
So Stoops would have owned that building,
Okay.
I believe. So, and he owned the telephone company.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the wherever his jewelry store was.
Oh, you don't know yet.
It might have been in your building if they were to the pharmacy.
Mm-hmm.
So he had it in the upstairs of his jewelry store.
Interesting. And that would have been in the 30s or 40s?
So the telephone came to Nappanee in the 1890s.
Wow.
Because Mr. Stoops passed away in 1935.
Okay.
And he got rid of the jewelry store once the telephone business got too big.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it could have the telephone company could have very well been in the upstairs of your building.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's history.
There's a lot of history. Like, Benny's building, they were like, oh, like the Nappanee jail was, we were told that it was in our basement, and I was looking around and I was like thinking of how tall because we have the jail.
Yeah.
We have the jail cell here in the museum, and I was looking around, and I'm like, no, it had to have been upstairs, because your ceilings down here are too low.
Sure. Yeah.
And
the ceilings are high on the second floor of our building too.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm pretty sure it was upstairs. I was pretty sure it's on the second floor. And then they're like, well, how do you know? And I was like, I have the jail cell.
Yeah.
In the museum. Like, I see it almost every single day.
You have proof.
Like, yeah, like your ceilings are a little bit too low for it.
Oh, have you been upstairs in our building since I started working on apartments up there? Well, next time you're down there, just check that door in the middle and just go up, because it's going to be cool.
Oh, nice. Yeah, when we were out walking, we looked in the door to look at the steps, because those steps are really, really cool.
Yes.
But we didn't try the door.
I know. I went in there one day, but I think they were on lunch. They don't always lock it.
Okay.
If you see their plumbing truck or electrical truck out front, they're probably up there working, and you should just go up and ask them about it, because they've got, the last thing I saw was they have the steel studs up and some plumbing roughed in and some other stuff.
Oh,
so
nice.
It's gonna be cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
I like the older downtown apartments.
Can't
afford them, but I really like them.
You really like them. That's awesome. Oh my goodness.
So you have a pretty special nook in your building. Can you talk about the prayer nook and what led you to include it in your business?
Yeah. Okay, so when I ran Dutch Lady Antiques at Coppice Commons, I had a friend who also had a booth there, and she would go to Florida often. They had a place in Florida. She would tell me about this store in Tennessee somewhere where the store owner built like almost an entire little chapel inside her store for people to go in and just pray if they wanted to, write down a prayer request, and then she had them hanging all over her walls. It was a beautiful space. And she said, I think you should try to do that. Well, it never seemed to work out good for some reason in Dutch Lady. So when this opportunity came up, I was talking to one of my good friends about it. I said, I want to have a little prayer nook. I know it's not going to be like a separate little space really, but it is. It's by the back window, and it's just for people to, let it out, because prayer's just talking to God, and the word says if we draw near to him, he'll draw near to us. And so there's just a lot of requests that we just keep hanging on the wall. They just write them. They don't put their names down or anything. We go through them and pray for them every so often, or we'll take a picture and post it and say, you're thought of today. And sometimes people want to talk about it, and sometimes they don't, and that's okay. It's just their little space for them to either thank God or ask him to help them. It's been it's a blessing to me to see people use it, really.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's one of like the most things that I love about your building is you make it personal as well.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, that's sweet. I appreciate that. Yeah, I do. I like that little corner a lot.
Yeah. Well, so not only do you have your found goods and antiques, but you also support local artisans. So, can you tell us a little bit about the artists and the groups that also have their goods for sale in your building?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there are 10 consigners. We call them consigners because they don't really rent space from me. They just, we put their things around the store and try to, sometimes I'll move them so that they get different exposure, but actually I think we have about 13 artists, and most of them are from there's Wakarusa, Bremen, Nappanee, Syracuse. I think I have there is one from Pennsylvania because I have a connection with her, and yeah, it's just fun to see what they bring in. There's photography. Somebody's got photography in there. We've got 2 different artists, a watercolor artist and acrylics. A girl that makes clay earrings.
Okay.
Candles, and then all the products that go along with candles, like car fresheners, those kinds of things. There's a gentleman who makes ballpoint pens.
Oh, wow.
And turns them on a lathe and everything. I had a friend who built me some rustic items from his barn, and he came over it was before we were even open. He said, I'm coming over to just show you what my things are, because I was after him to build me some stuff because I knew he had some really cool old wood. Anyway, he brought a truckload of stuff and showed me, what do you think, can you sell this? And I said, well, we can only try, right?
Yeah.
And he made some really cool like stables for manger scenes, and we got to put those out this Christmas. He passed away in the summer, so I'm sad that I won't be able to get any more of his things out to people because they were really cool. But yeah, we have that kind of stuff too. Trying to think what else. We have crocheted item like hats and scarves. There's a local girl who grows flowers. She grows her flowers, she dries them, and then brings them in different arrangements, wreaths and such. We've got soap, and we have a couple ministries that we kind of support by selling the items that their people in those countries make. So we have some ceramics from Indonesia, from a ministry in Indonesia.
Cool.
And then we have some items that women in Haiti make. And those are both connections with people that I've had. And so that's kind of cool that we get to, help out with that too. So.
Yeah, that is really, really cool. Yeah. So is there anything that we haven't talked about that you really wanted to touch on?
You know what? I think we covered a lot of especially what you had asked me earlier. I just want to say, I guess, again, that I just really appreciate Pete and Eric Yoder for making it possible, because they did such a terrific job on the building, and that's what people comment on when they come in the store. And so that's always great. I love the history of the items that come through the door, and I think what really charges me up is when I can connect a customer with what they're looking for in the store and in someone's booth. It doesn't even have to be a certain person's booth. It's just if they can find it in the store, that just always fires me up. When they come in and they're excited and they're hunting and we found it and they're so happy.
Yeah.
That's one of the best feelings I think I get, to find other like-minded people that appreciate, things with history.
Yeah, and really found goods, antiques, and museums, we really go hand in hand.
We sure
because,
do.
You're in the business of selling those to people, but we're in the business of preserving that for people. So
yeah,
I think that's really, really cool.
I do too. And there are people that come in and say, oh, I have one of these and it was my great grandma's, and I'll never get rid of it, and so, for a lot of people, those things have a lot of customers, those items have memories and loved ones attached to that item,
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, I think we have the same too. So whenever people see come in and see the Coppice kitchens, they're like, oh my goodness, my great great grandma had one of these. I'm so sad that they threw it away, that I got rid of it, or so and so painted over it.
Right. Right.
So it is interesting hearing people's memories and them associating things all together.
Yeah.
So,
I love that too.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things I also love about what I do, is hearing people's stories. And I can't sell everyone's things because not everything sells anymore, but it's always good to hear their stories,
Yeah, I think so too. So thank you so much, Jeannie, for sitting down with me. I appreciate you, and I appreciate what you have brought to Nappanee with 1874.
Thank you, Martha. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, that's all that I have for this month. A special thank you to Jeannie for being my guest. Next month, Dr. John Lowe from Ohio State University and a member of the Pokagon band Potawatomi will be joining me. But before you go, be sure to subscribe to this podcast, hit like, or leave us a comment.